This show just up and down and up and down and up and down. Daredevil, Born Again, episode, what is this, 7? I think it's 7. I don't know. So if you watched my videos last time, you might remember that I noted that I thought the presence of Muse did some interesting things to the existing characters, in particular with Matt and Fisk. And you might also remember that I said, I don't find Muse himself to be particularly interesting. Well, guess who gets a big, massive focus and spotlight put on him in this one? Yeah. Muse is deeply underdeveloped. He's incredibly generic as like a standard weirdo gimmick serial killer, the kind that you see in half a dozen cheapo psychological thrillers, or honestly, as a lot of minor and or one-off villains in street-level comic books, which is obviously what his origins are from. I don't know how good a representation this is of Muse from the comics. I don't really care. I find him boring. I find him insanely boring. I find literally nothing interesting about him as a character. Again, his presence was doing interesting things to the overall plot and to other characters, but he himself, wow, I don't care. And the show did a real bad job of trying to make me care. Like, I want to say that who he really is, this client of, I can't even remember her freaking name, Matt's current girlfriend, who they're also doing a pretty bad job of establishing like a nature of their relationship other than just having her be at his apartment all the damn time. They're really not doing a lot to build and solidify that relationship. But regardless, I want to say that this kid who Muse is, we have not seen outside the mask before. I won't swear by that. Maybe we have. Maybe there's been like an offhand sentence that like she's said to Matt about one of her clients, or like needing to see somebody, or like I don't know. Maybe he's been referenced. Maybe he's appeared briefly. But if he did, he made so little impression that I am left wanting to say we haven't seen him up to this point. He definitely hasn't gotten anywhere near the focus he has up to this point, which to a certain extent I get. Like if there was just a random one of her clients who we didn't otherwise know or have reason to care about who was getting a weird amount of focus, and then we had a villain in a mask, it would have been pretty damn obvious who that villain in the mask is. But you don't fix the problem by throwing him out there at the point where you're just doing the reveal, because it's like, well, who the hell is that? What? I don't know why. I don't know why I'm supposed to care what his deal is. I guess I care a little about him threatening her because he's, a weird creepo, possibly sort of strangely incel, definitely just weird dude with a lot of hang-ups around his family who is killing people. Okay. That, like, you are a dime a dozen in thriller fiction. Like, it's preposterous how common this template is. There's nothing interesting about him, and he gets so much focus on this. And the thing that was interesting about his presence, what his presence did to the other characters, i.e., push Matt to actually put the suit on again and make Fisk pull together the task force. Neither of those evolve from where they were at the end of the last episode. Matt shows up in costume again to, kick this guy's ass, and so his girlfriend can shoot him and now possibly start to suspect that Matt might be Daredevil. Cool, fine. Like, whatever, man. And like the task force, like what I thought we were going to get, what I was hopeful we were going to get is get not a lot of focus on Muse as a character, but get a big focus on like the competing chase. Like seeing Fisk and the task force, like trying their best to find this guy, not only to stop him, but before Daredevil does, because Fisk so badly wants to negate the idea that this city benefits from vigilantes like Daredevil. So he has an absolutely core reason, and a very personal and emotional one, to not want Daredevil to be the one to stop this guy, even though, like, from an objective, people are dying out there. Metric shouldn't matter who stops him. Let's just get him stopped. But it would matter to Fisk that, like, no, it can't be Daredevil. It has to be us. And there's tiny elements of that, like with the fact that he tells the head of his task force to be like, there was no other person. You are heroes. You did this. I'm like, okay, like, so there's a tiny bit of that. But I thought what we were going to get was an actual competing chase, like seeing Daredevil try to both gather information and avoid the task force, seeing the task force possibly split its attention between Muse and Daredevil, and like get this whole cat and mouse with like multiple cats and mice in the thing. Like, that's what I was hoping for, and there's just none of that here. There's just none of that here. Muse is revealed basically immediately for all intents and purposes. This episode feels very obligatory. This feels like, okay, we had Muse have the impact on the other characters that, again, is good impact on the other characters. Push Matt to put the suit back on, push Fisk, to make this task force, which is now his tool. Like, cool. That was stuff worth doing. Now that he's accomplished that, we need to write him out as quickly as possible. So one episode, here he is, now he's dead, moving on. Like, this feels like an exercise in tying up loose ends, not in actually moving the story forward in any meaningful way. And then there's the stuff with Vanessa, which you'd think that since my major complaint about Vanessa and Fisk up to this point has been that I don't like this tension between them. I don't find it interesting. What I always found interesting about them was how well they got each other. So all of the thing with like the affair and this tension between them, I didn't find interesting. I wanted to get back to this place where they are on the same page and working well together and complementing each other and bringing both the best and the worst out of each other. The best in terms of like bringing out their ability to do what they want to accomplish really, really well, but like also arguably the worst because it is they are encouraging each other to be, from any kind of objective standpoint, terrible people, but they also are very good at helping each other be very good at it. That's what I wanted to get back to. And we do arguably get back to that here. And that should feel like a relief. That should feel almost like a fist pump moment, like, yeah, except I'm mostly just going, well, it's about frickin' time. So, like, the whole thing of her appearing to betray Fisk to Luca, which I didn't buy. I didn't buy even for a second. And then, revealing that she worked with Fisk to set up Luca, so now Luca's dead. Okay, so they're now back on the same page again, hopefully. But, like, I'm not celebrating. I'm just left going, yeah, this is where we should have started from. How are we this far in and it took you this long to get back here? And like the journey here wasn't interesting. You know what it feels like? It feels like a slightly more twisted version of that thing where like in a first season or a first movie in a franchise where these two characters spend this whole time, getting together. And then at the start of the next thing, they're broken up. And then they spend a whole chunk of the next thing getting together again. It feels a little bit like that. It's not 100% like that. The dynamics are slightly different. They're not going through the exact same journey they did in like Daredevil season 1. But functionally, it feels a lot like that kind of, well, let's just roll it back and have them reconnect again. Like, no, but you did that. We did that. You did that. We saw that. We like that. That doesn't mean we want to see it again. It means we want to see what is next. And now it has taken however many episodes into the season to get to the point where we can finally see what is next. Frustrating. This show frustrates me because when it's good, it's quite good. I liked the previous 2 episodes. I liked what the previous episode again did for Matt and for Fisk. I liked the heist episode. Like, this can be good. I know this can be good, but then it does this. And it's not even like the worst thing ever. It's just, I know this show is better. There are some times where I get upset at an episode of something because it is just flat out bad. There's just like, that's a bad choice. That is a decision that like should not have been made. That's not necessarily the case in the episodes in this show that I'm not liking. But what is the case is I know you're better than this. I've seen you be better than this, and not just as a one-off fluke. I've seen you multiple times be better than this. So yeah. Frustration. That's where I'm at with this show. We'll see how the season wraps up. They are really failing to meaningfully bring back and do anything with the cops who like were idolizing the Punisher. The fact that that still has yet to come back is worrying to me. If they like, so help me, if that doesn't circle back by the end of this season, I'm going to be legit upset. Because that was something with so much meat on it. And if they ultimately basically do nothing with it, I'm going to be real ticked off. So, yeah. That's it. Frustration. That's what this episode left me with. What did you think about this one? Whatever your thoughts might be, drop something down in the comments. Let's talk about it. Patreon pays the bills. Oh, I suppose I'll mention the fight was fine. The fight was fine. It was a perfectly fine fight. But, don't worry about all that stuff. Like, share, subscribe. It helps. Blah, 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 blah. What I really want you to remember is that whether you think this is good or you share my frustrations, we try and take a relaxed attitude around here. So just come on back next time you need a break. And now to thank my highest supporting patrons: Robin Moore, Goddess Elida, Zubin Lafula, Jen, Welsh Wrestling Geeks, Oliver B., Melissa Pedersen, Movie Turtle, Ulrich Bogdan, Melinda Walters, Auntie Kate 808, Andre, Becky Sparks, Claire Wright, Tracy Scrabbit, Angry Casperl, Dave Hall, Quite Bearish, Rosalind Bennett, Toku Blahuvian, Adam R.D.L. Taylor, Pal Barabajagal, Mary Mello, Mira G, and Sir Didymus is my favorite. If you want to help me ensure that I can keep these guys fed, as well as the other animals and strange creatures that sometimes occupy my house, check out the rewards on the Patreon. Yeah, hello to you too. Bless you.